contacted Myron. And when they were in contact with Myron, I think it was face to face, what's happening? Yeah, face to face the next day, we found out that when they asked for a refund, that Myron tells them basically, no, they're not getting a refund. And the reason is why they're not getting a refund is because me and Ayinde, us two here, were the ones who collected the money, got the money, we basically sold the money.
So essentially, all this stuff is bubbling up in the background, and it all came out during the Abba and Preach beef. He goes on to list and honestly really prophesize and foreshadow a lot of things that ended up taking place. The fact that all the staff followed Myron's lead and became outright douches to the girls. The fact that he doesn't actually care about the men he's helping. He hit the nail on the head. But it was because of this that Allende made the boneheaded decision, breaking into the studio to confront him. Funnily enough, there was a conspiracy that Abba and Preach was a mastermind behind the whole break-in, but that was just hearsay. Allende and Abba both said that's not the case. That break-in was the talk of YouTube for a good few weeks, and Abba, Preach, and everyone else was making a killing reacting to it. Keep in mind, all these allegations were happening either simultaneously or in quick succession, one after another after another. This got so big, they had to respond comprehensively to all of them. They copped a plea deal once again and took a far different tone than they originally had when things were just starting out. It was 5 hours worth of responses. They maintained 20K views the entire 5 hours, which is insane. And they got decent reception to what they said, especially within their niche. Eventually, the allegations, they did die down, but the general hate towards Fresh and Fit and different, more general critiques continued and continued until yet another misstep and the downfall was taken. Fresh and Fit went on a copyright abuse rampage. I love how all these guys say they care about free speech, but always end up being the snowflakes they complain about. People didn't already hate them before, they surely did now. In the YouTube world, false copyright strikes are a cardinal sin, rightfully so. You can end up getting someone's channel deleted and their livelihood taken. Now it's unlikely, especially the bigger the channel, but YouTube has a broken system and people like Fresh and Fit and the Fake and the Pretender abuse this. These guys know that the critiques against them are very real and thus very damaging. So instead of addressing them or, I don't know, changing their actions, man, too hard. I'll just try and silence it and then also turn around and complain about big tech and the Jews silencing me. Fresh and Fit was giving out copyright strikes like it's Halloween candy. Channels, big or small, were getting hit 20+% to Abba and Preach alone. But Fresh and Fit did not think too far ahead because YouTube eventually told Fresh and Fit they have 7 days to revoke the copyright strikes, or their channel will be deleted. It was a beautiful display of poetic justice in the end. This was so bad that Tim Pool, yes, the guy confirmed to have been paid by Russia, who espouses all the same things Fresh and Fit do, even called them out on their behavior.
And won't leave and does it for 4 months. What are you gonna do?
Well, you can't file a DMCA over it.
Apparently not.
Myron was comparing people making videos critiquing him as someone breaking into his store and hitting him with his own broom. No comment. If you think this is as bad as it gets, I wish that were true. Oh buddy, it gets worse. The next big controversy went viral not just on YouTube, but on Twitter, specifically Black Twitter, one of the scariest places to go viral at ever. And it was because of Myron's stated preferences. When asked about a dating app called Blacked, he said this.
Oh, it's funny, I never used that one, bro, but hey, man.
I mean, hey, bro, if you want to date a bunch of Shaniquas, go for it, man.
LaQuisha.
Yeah, like, me and Fresh aren't really down with the brown like that.
Man.
We ain't night riders.
Nah,
so
I'm good.
Sometimes if they're, Redbone, but like in general, me and Fresh don't dabble in the dark, if you know what I'm saying.
Yep.
And people lost their mind. And then afterwards, after the backlash, Myron's like, listen, what's wrong with having a preference?
When it comes to dating and your personal preferences,
It's
no
an
one
issue.
bats an eye. When women say I want a man that's 6 feet tall, makes a certain amount of money, blah, 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 those are considered preferences. But if I say, hey, man, I don't date black girls like that. Oh, God.
You hate black women.
His defense was, it's just my preference in relation to preferring a certain race over another. It definitely does raise eyebrows, but whether or not it's racist is a little bit more nuanced. Attraction isn't necessarily a choice. It's often shaped by personal preferences, experiences, and even societal influence. All things we don't necessarily control. So if someone tends to find people of a certain skin color more or less attractive, that's one thing. And I do feel like it's common to have that to varying degrees, one way or the other. But when you take it to the level of I don't date black women, period, it's a whole different ballgame. Now you're not just talking about a preference, you're outright excluding an entire group of people based solely on the skin color. It's like looking at two identical resumes, same qualifications, same experience, but you toss one aside strictly because they're black. It's a pretty clear-cut case of racism, no? To be fair, Myron did say he preferred lighter-skinned women, but he also did say he wasn't down with the brown and I don't dabble in the dark, which kind of points me in the direction of it being a rule rather than a preference. Black Twitter did not take kindly to this. Yet another big hit in their reputation in the mainstream. But within their niche and their subscribers, this was par for the course. And most of his fans agree with what he said, so nothing nothing really happened. The next big controversy was much like the last, very damaging for the greater YouTube and Twitter audience, but not so damaging in their own niche, like the ABBA and Preach beef was. This one was levied against them by H3H3 using the info given to them from a girl Myron was trying to get with after the show. Basically, she stayed after the show because she forgot her wallet. In the interest of time, the whole situation was blown way out of proportion. The girl just came off as someone who was looking for clout. Her story and her actions completely didn't align. She'd say, I didn't want to see him or stay with him, but then ended up in his house. She was so turned off and disinterested. But when he told her to go get mouthwash, she went and did it and then came back. If I listened to her commentary and not her actions, it would be a completely different thing. It was such a bad allegation that even ABBA and Preach themselves called it out and defended Fresh and Fit. Despite this, the girl herself even said Myron did not assault her when Ethan tried to goad her into saying it.
This is a very disturbing story, actually.
Yeah, it's interesting, but at that point,
I think he may have assaulted you. I mean, at this point,
I mean, I don't want to say that, but like again, like it was my experience.
He also implicationed you a little bit too, the way they split you guys up, and
no, we could go buy a couple more. They're not very expensive.
If you know what that is.
Yeah. No.
Oh, okay, sorry.
But Ethan kept going with it. He already doesn't like those guys, which don't get me wrong, neither do I. But that's all the more reason we should talk about what he actually did, like the fact he's so desperate to get with girls from the podcast. But yeah, Myron debunked everything. He eventually dropped text that did not align with what she said.
So she contacted me. So how would I demand to get her number if she was the one that contacted me first? But, right? So she's saying, oh, I didn't talk with him. I didn't text him back. Just go play it through real quick, Chris, and we're gonna analyze parts of this conversation later on.
Shout out to Tim Pool, man.
Shout out to our guy Tim Pool. But look, she's not texting me. Look at that. That looks like a conversation to me.
Wow.
Okay. That looks like a conversation to me.
God damn, we gotta find an essence.
Again, I don't like these two.
It was clear she was trying to save face and seem like she wasn't interested, when she very obviously was for whatever reason. Even though some people, including ABBA and Preach, were on F&F side for this, they're the most hated. So we want to believe they did bad, even when they might not have. There's still a subset of people, namely H3H3 and their fans, who maintain he did all this. By this point, Fresh and Fit were reaching their peak or getting close to it. The name is widely known. In fact, I'd wager that if I spoke to the average person, they'd probably know Fresh and Fit, at least heard of them, over ABBA and Preach. They lost 50,000 subscribers, had gotten that back and then some. Broken into the mainstream many more times with collabs with Kate Brothers, Brittany Renner, DJ Academics, and other viral videos and kickouts. They were doing what they do best and getting rewarded for it. The whole time, ABBA and Preach had actually forgiven Fresh and Fit and stopped uploading on them. Just kidding. They were uploading constantly and getting anywhere from 800,000 views to 1.5 million views per video. Myron, although he ignored it for the most part, was pissed. In his eyes, ABBA was damaging his brand, cultivating a hate base against him, and eating off him all at the same time. This anger and animosity that honestly was probably a calculated and predicted outcome by ABBA finally bubbled over in what I like to call the full-blown self-destruction of the F&F podcast. Up until now, they've at least attempted to course correct on every mistake. The allegations, the false strikes, the lies, the incongruence with their teachings and actions, everything did hurt them, but nothing gave them a fatal blow. But this one right here, this was the beginning of the end, no doubt. Myron invited two people who like to go DEFCON 3 on Jewish people to keep it safe on YouTube. Both grifters, both banned off of YouTube, and both extremely racist. I think you're seeing the picture being painted here. They went on a 30-minute racist rant, calling ABBA and Preach monkeys, making fun of their looks and anything in between.
Dude, what the no, every time
Zerka himself partook in some good old-fashioned neo-dog whistling, saying Preach needs to evolve and he's overdosing on the warrior gene.
Yo, Reach, you're overdosing on the warrior gene, bro.
And other lovely things just like that. It was so bad even Sneeko seemed uncomfy at times.
No, Reach, I don't even believe in this theory, but you gotta evolve. Whoa, you gotta evolve, bro. No, I'm not racist. I'm racist.
But wait, there's more. But before that, you need some context. These guys didn't just randomly reveal their racist side on a random Monday. No, sir. They were overtly racist often, dog whistling even more often at every race, but especially black people and Jewish people. Myron, Sneeko, and Zerka look up to this 26-year-old we'll call NF. You see, NF has some less than savory views. I'll just call them some Kanye in 2022 views. His ideas summed up are Medic people, and by association, black people, and every color of people for that matter, is what's wrong with the country. Full stop. Don't ask too many questions because it's not meant to be a rational thought, grounded in reality or anything besides a mixture of cope and hatred, and a want to feel like you know something the rest of the world doesn't know. So I know, might be wondering, wait, a black guy co-branding with the Latino guy to talk about how that black guy is the worst thing on earth? Yeah, don't try to understand it. Myron doesn't even understand it. NF, his whole MO is plausible deniability, right? He can't outright say it, but he'll say every single talking point. He doesn't believe in the number of specific people killed during the you-know-what. Yes, the most documented and recorded event in world history. Yeah, it's wrong. He knows better. He also thinks that people of color are less than, lower IQ, and criminals. He wants an ethno-state, and he thinks the Messianic people are at the head of it all, trying to complete their ultimate plan, which is undermine the white race and world domination. Myron hides behind the idea of, I'm racist to everyone, so it's fine. NF specifically says he's just a race realist and he deals in the facts of the world. And he loves everyone and he's a Christian. I guess I missed the passage in the Bible where Jesus said, thou shalt hate all Jews. Thou shalt create an ethno-state. I was more familiar with when a foreigner resides among you in your land, do not mistreat them. And the foreigner residing among you must be treated as your native born. Love them as yourself, but you were foreigners in Egypt. Probably some Jewish psyop. But yeah, there's 3 rules, guys. So now you understand the backstory, you understand who they look up to, and you understand why they're acting like this. Never ask a woman her age, never ask a man his salary, and never ask an NF why, if it's really just about race and what the racists do, not the racists themselves, why can we not just kick out every criminal and low IQ person of any race? So yeah, now back to where we were in the timeline. It was after this stream that came another stream, and it was somehow worse. They used every slur in the book. All 3 of them were there, and wearing a hood over his head and spamming the N-word was Myron. I don't even want to play it because I know YouTube will not take too kindly to it. It was that bad. So it was all laughs and insults and giggling and roasting at this point. And this lasted a good 2 months. The title of the video that Abba responded to was an end of Fresh and Fit. It wasn't so much a question, but rather a statement.
And guys, the channel has been kicked off the YouTube Partner Program. I shouldn't be admitting this, but saving children, right? That was great, but saving you guys is better.
Yeah, man, this is tough, bro.
They were kicked off the YouTube Partner Program. 98% of their revenue and their most reliable source of income has been destroyed, and along with that, their growth. What incentive does YouTube have to promote your channel and your videos if you're not making them money anymore? So everything from their traction to their relevancy began to dry up. And for what? To tap dance and insult black people? To wake up the masses to the evil confederation of secret underground messianic people that everyone has been fooled by besides, of course, Myron and Fresh. Yeah, not worth the loss of 70,000 USD monthly if you ask me. Maybe my priorities are just messed up. Everyone with a functioning brain knows this, even people like Fresh. You see, at this point, facts are starting to show in the relationship between Myron and Fresh. Up until now, Fresh just did whatever Myron said, no questions asked. The extent of his deviation from Myron's orders would be when Myron would talk about how tricking is bad and all women in Miami are promiscuous and for the streets. Fresh would, of course, trick on women and wife up those same Miami girls, and to save face, he'd say, me and Myron don't agree on everything. But now, Fresh just lost a big chunk of his revenue. That's all his cars, his rented Lambos, his penthouse, his jewelry. That's literally him. His only substance was that money. Add on the fact that Myron was the one who was mostly obsessed with the conspiracies, and he really was the one to lead the charge into the alt-right. I just kind of felt like Myron led them down a path that wasn't good for them, and he was right. While Myron at least acted like he cared about anything more than just money, stating saving children was good, but it's better to be saving you guys. Fresh didn't offer anything past frustration about free speech.
I think at some point there was free speech where it was like, okay, you know what? You say what you gotta say, we'll crucify you. But nowadays, free speech is kind of like, is it even a thing? I mean, not really.
This is a symptom of Myron controlling for controllability, yes-man capabilities, and insecurity when hiring people. The people that he hires are just not going to be the best at their job. Fresh clearly didn't get the memo of, we're supposed to be sad about the fact that we can't help men, not that we're losing money. Because at this point, that's their whole grip. But yeah, while everyone on the outside is laughing at FNF and dancing on their AdSense grave, their fans are rallying around them, donating through other sources more than ever before, and just trying to support them in every way they possibly can. Me personally, I say good riddance to all that money. They were completely fine. People losing their livelihoods during the DMCA strike era. They were talking to Abba and Preach reckless, saying, we're going to laugh you guys. Like they're completely untouchable.
Yeah, dude. Next year, this time, we're gonna lap you.
Few moments later.
The channel has been kicked off the YouTube Partner Program.
So I'm not going to lose sleep over this. But even still, though the downfall had definitely started and is well on its way, they still had the chance and opportunity to course correct. By now, their growth was stunted, no doubt. Most people who could have been a fan had already heard of FNF and are either a fan or never will be. Their style was getting a bit stale, people grew tired of the same questions, leading to angry kickouts, and the competition was starting to innovate in their own right, hosting debates, treating girls like humans, having girls who aren't just the average Miami thought, and more. One big draw was their guests too. Understand, this wasn't the time of old where Fresh and Fit had the mainstream attention they enjoyed. They were a clear and obvious brand risk, and thus, good brands and names stayed far, far away. The Whatever podcast wasn't as bad, so they could actually get some self-respecting people on the show, both women and men guests. It's only so many times you can watch the newest scammer on Money Monday, or watch the same out-of-touch grandpa talk about his book for the 50th time, or watch the same bald guy cosplay as a pimp, businessman, and a gang leader all in one. They got old real fast, and even at that, they still had their core base. Their biggest supporters, if I were to guess, were coming from the men who were fully bought into what they were saying and looked to these guys for life advice, women advice, and just look up to them in general. They watch everything from their Money Mondays to their after-hours shows. The next free group just wants to watch the Jerry Springer-esque moments in the after-hours episodes. While the first group is very obviously smaller, they were the cash cow, the whales, the ones who were willing to break the most bread for these guys they look up to. That's exactly who you don't want to piss off. And of course, they did just that. Fresh, who already was the sidekick of the duo, who no one took seriously, got into some heat. I made a full video detailing this, so I will not be touching on this fully. Link to everything's in the description. But basically, Fresh, who was first in a debacle with a girl named Miranda, more info also in that video, got played the hell out of while he coped about her liking him for him. He did not learn his lesson and turned around and did the same thing with a sugar baby from China by the name of Jin Chen. Except this time he got her pregnant allegedly. No one really cared about that. It's Fresh. We expect him to be brazenly incongruent. Of Myron, we expect at least a step above. But in this scenario, Myron defended Fresh. Fresh just went against every last thing they espoused. Don't take a girl from Miami seriously. He did so. And she was an escort to boot. No trick on women. He bought her an expensive bracelet. Paid her rent for some time. And that's only what we know. Don't knock up one of these bimbos. And that's exactly what he did, allegedly. Worse yet, they both weren't taking accountability for it. Fresh and Myron were coping. The flip was quick, decisive, and brutal. The Fresh and Fit Reddit that was slowly getting more and more poison against them fully became an anti-fan haven. Even prior to this, anything pro-Fresh was disliked to hell. And now, it was hate for both Myron and Fresh. When Myron used to enjoy some level of support from them, but now, the core fan base, the guys donating thousands of dollars to call women low value and talk about how high value they are, knowing damn well they'd sell their undying souls for a hug from one of these girls. Well, now they're starting to think, wait, this is a bit inconsistent even for me. And the support slowly dwindled. It all came to a head when they did a response stream to the allegations. With the pent-up rage from Abba and Preach continually making videos at their expense, the humiliation Fresh just put the show through, the ever-dwindling support both monetarily and generally from their fans, and probably a sprinkle of PTSD from the last big controversy that the whole internet was speaking about regarding them, Myron was not happy. It started with Myron calling Abba since he still had his cell phone and asking him to put some gloves on. Taking him up on the offer from years ago at this point, the box Preach.
Put the gloves on. Back up what you gotta say with your fists.
Conveniently, he only wanted to box Abba, who never challenged him to a fight, and not Preach, who did challenge them, and probably would beat the brakes off him. That wasn't all that was addressed in this. You see, Myron is kind of known for being what some call loyal, but I call it stupid. He prefers loyalty into blindly defending people at the expense of everything and no matter what, including but not limited to criminals and people who wouldn't do the same for you, i.e. Fresh. The only thing Fresh is thinking about is money, women, and coconuts in Barbados. No joke, that's all he can store up. But Myron, being as short-sighted as he's been proven to be, loses his mind at the people rightfully calling Fresh out in what you can only call a man-child's meltdown.
You know, it really bothers me when people talk about my friends, bro. Like, I don't get it. Like, it really does piss me off. When the Andrew Tate allegations came out, pissed me off. When people talk shit about Fresh, gets me mad. When people talk shit about Sneeko, etc. If you're my friend, you're my friend. I'm with you, regardless of whether it's convenient or not. You in the chat that say you're Byron, you're loyal to a fault. Shut the up. That does not exist in my vocabulary, loyal to a fault.
Loyalty is a beautiful thing. Honestly, if you ask me, it can be better than love sometimes. ESTG put it best. You know Brutus loved Caesar, we know Judas loved Jesus. So if there's one silver lining, it's the fact that Myron does seem to be a loyal person, evident in the fact that he didn't trash Destiny at any point during his divorce with Melina. That could have been prime content for him, and everyone in his niche was talking about it. All of his fans wanted him to as well, but he just wouldn't do it. It seemed, at least in this case, he stood on his principles. But like I said, it's for the wrong people most of the time. And also, it's at the expense of everything, including his integrity, his morals, and even his dignity. He finally snapped as he recounted everything he's been through and the millions they've lost due to all their actions.
We've been through hell together. We had people come at us. We've had death threats at us. People laugh at every time we go through some. People make allegations on us. People have tried to absolutely destroy us. You know who was around me the whole time? These guys. So you can say whatever the you want to say. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to stand by the guys that stand by me. Because you pieces of are there when I'm going through it. You pieces of are there when I'm figuring out what the I'm going to do because we got demonetized. You weren't there when everyone in the mom came at us. You weren't there when I got the false accusation against me. You weren't there when this lied and said that I got her pregnant when I didn't. And then you 3 years later, believe some bitch that makes the same allegations again. I'm not going anywhere. I'm standing right here.
He smashed that cup live, damn near opened the 8th gate going on this rant, and it would almost be touching if we didn't have the background on him that we do. Naturally, this was meme to oblivion. Abba and Preach used this for every subsequent intro in their videos.
Another day, another Fresh and Fit L.
Again!
At this point, they were a content farm for Abba and Preach and other commentary channels. Worse yet for them was that all the fans were still left with a bad taste in their mouth because the main point of the video was to tell fans to shut up about the whole situation and that Myron holds Fresh accountable behind closed doors. Yeah, maybe, but there's very little evidence of that. People were noticing that. Add in the fact that one of their biggest points that the fans were saying is that Fresh doesn't take accountability. This led to many fans withdrawing their support. After this, Myron had a decision to make. Accept his faults and change the way he runs things, listen to his fans, and do right right by the people who watch, people who support him financially, people he's employing and whose livelihood and job security hangs in the balance, or continue down his path. Well, as predicted, he lived out Kanye's lyrics in Can't Tell Me Nothing. He felt the pressure under more scrutiny, and what did he do? He acted more stupid. They went live with a stream by the name of The End of Fresh and Fit, We Quit. This stream was the worst fan reception yet, topping the last stream somehow, someway. They started off stating how they provided so much content for free while demonetized because they love helping men so much. They spoke about how they're going against the Matrix, the Jews, the feminists, all the rest of that.
We want to go places where other podcasts are scared to go. We want to make content about things that other podcasts are scared to make. And obviously, when you make content on certain things before October 7th, right, you get, you can go ahead and deal with some with some consequences for that, right?
They said all this to butter the fans up for the fact that they're going to be going behind a paywall for their after hours. The only thing anyone comes to their channel to watch. They're doing this through what they call Castle Club, where for the low price of $35 a month, you can gain the value that Fresh and Fit always provides. Needless to say, their fans were not having it. Not only have they turned their back against their core fan base, flip-flop more than a politician during election year, blew up his own podcast for an ideology that hates it, and then placed the bill for the team at the feet of the viewers. If I was a podcast and I did all those things I just listed, my last option would be to do what FNF did, well then I'd have zero options because I would never do that. There's just some things that are just too shameful. But of course, they did it and the result was horrible. The subreddit completely flipped. 99% of posts that are even about FNF are completely bashing FNF. At the time of this stream, 100% of them were. People were unsubscribing en masse and no one felt bad for them. Worse yet, instead of saying, look guys, I'm sorry, this is my fault and I'm coming to you guys in my time of need, don't feel obligated and I understand the backlash. They insulted their own fans for not wanting to foot the bill that they had no part in accruing.
By the way, if you're a brokey in the chat, I'll call you a brokey just because you don't want to support. That's understandable. What I will say though is when you see the value in the Castle Club, you're like, damn, you know what?
Yeah.
I need to be a part of that.
Your motivation pushed me to start and grow my business. I appreciate you guys. That's what we're talking about, bro. No, brokey, shout out to you, C. Avery. Notice how the guys that make money don't complain about the Castle Club is important.
The comments were all bad too. It's a mission to find even one favorable comment among the sea of negative ones. Up to this point, not one thing that Marion said he does or believes in has stayed consistent.
I don't need to make a set off this podcast. I'm fine. My real estate will take care of me, so I can sit here and tell you, you.
We need you guys to support us on Rumble. If you guys want us to keep making this content,
I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna say what the I want to say. We make it look easy, guys, but we have people that work for us that legit have a need and depend on us.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for this current platform right now, they won't eat. Neither do their kids.
He brings up the point that I have employees to take care of, as if we should care. That's your job, buddy, and employees should be upset with you, and you should be coming out of your pocket to pay them. Liquidate one of your houses you were bragging about earlier. I mean, he wouldn't take an employee saying, yeah, he can't come to work because I didn't plan for X, Y, and Z, so I'll be working less hours, and rightfully so. You have a job to do. No one cares why you can't do the job. You're either doing the job or you're not doing the job. Same way, the employee shouldn't accept, well, it cost you guys everything, and I stood to gain nothing, and I did gain nothing. Hope you guys understand. By this point, FNF just didn't care, fully. They said, forget the facade, forget trying to help men, there's bills to be paid and money to be made. Full grift mode was activated.
If you're a member of Castle Club for the next few days, up until Friday when we finish the show, you're going to be able to get in at only $3,500. However, if you don't and you're not a Castle Club member, it's going to be $39.95.
They sold quote-unquote yacht ticket for $4,000 and gave a discounted price for Castle Club members of $3,500. They promised refreshments, a grand beautiful yacht, networking, and lots of women. Even before the yacht party, this was terrible. Who's going to one of these? Yeah, I guess there are ladies, but it's segregated like Jim Crow, except between genders. It was an abject disaster, and thus they had to do a second one. Again! And of course, it was just as bad. They lowered the price by $500, and the yacht that was supposed to be a huge, vast yacht that you'd have to pay way more to get into normally gets exposed to be a decommissioned state fair. The same segregation was there in the next yacht party too. I don't know how that could be. I mean, they had multiple high-value men right there. Why would you not be excited to talk to them? It's truly a mystery to me.
Hey, ladies, what's up to the camera? Introduce yourselves. Apparently, you guys are from Czech Republic?
No, definitely.
Networking was not consistent, but there sure was a lot of men dancing. Well worth the 3.5K if you ask me. They went on to do a damage control stream in which they controlled 0 damage. And in fact, Fresh, being as smart as the microphone he's speaking into, decides to say the reason the party was good was that he made a profit. Oh yeah, and he said this directly after Myron tried to say it wasn't about making